Welcome to another episode of B2B Marketing Futures, the podcast for B2B marketers, sponsored by AdSact, the B2B ad platform. Today's topic is how high-performing teams win when they operate as one. We know that alignment between marketing, sales, product, and operations is something every organization strives for, but very few achieve. In this episode, we'll explore what true alignment looks like, why it matters, and how high-performing teams overcome friction to deliver results. I'm delighted to be joined by Monica and Lukas. And before we dive in, I'd love for you to briefly introduce yourselves and share a bit about your current focus. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Lukas, and I'm in charge of digital marketing in Atlas Copco.
Welcome, Lukas. Monica, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm Monica Gonzalez, and I am leading the efforts around sustainability marketing at Juniper Networks.
Amazing. Thank you so much for those introductions. Let's start with a vision setting question. Okay, imagine a go-to-market team that truly operates as one, with sales, marketing, product, and ops all aligned around the customer. What would that look like in practice? What are the key elements that turn a group of functions into a genuinely high-performing team?
From my side, I think that the most important thing is that we're united by the same vision. In different companies, the vision might look differently, but in our case, we really focus on sales. And actually, when you think about the vision, you really want to have the vision that motivates all the people in the team, not only in your team, but also in the cross-functional organization. And then when everybody cares about the same thing, then you really have the buy-in and the motivation for everyone to be on the same page. So actually, in our case, I mentioned we really care about sales. So actually, we try to increase sales and then scale a lot the initiatives that do that. So I think that's what helps us in terms of vision.
Yeah. I agree. I think that when everyone understands the vision and the mission, then everyone works towards that unified goal. And then you have the cross-functional collaboration and just really that effort towards working to the common goal.
Yeah, and Lukas, you built your digital marketing team from scratch at Atlas, right? What practices or principles help you establish a culture of high performance from day one?
Yeah, it's really tricky because we are a really huge organization, very, very long. We have long history. We are 150 years old, our company, and we're very well integrated in our industry. But when hiring digital marketing team, actually, I'm really looking for top competence and also people who are really passionate but also persevere about their jobs. And actually, a very, very important thing is to give them the liberty to enable them, because I personally believe that everybody wants to do a really good job and everyone is really motivated. Everyone wants to be good. And then if you have the passion as well and the perseverance to sort of follow your passion, then actually the only thing you need is a really good KPI, really good introduction in the organization, and then you're going to thrive in the organization. So actually, it's difficult to build a team because you need to find the right profiles. We had probably around 50 or 100 interviews, and yeah, I think we have a really outstanding team. And actually, it's not only the outstanding talent that we hire, but it's also the way they integrate in the organization and the way they're passionate about their KPIs and the development of themselves and the development within the organization. I think that's what.
Yeah, that's great. So now let's talk about the flow of insights. Okay, in the ideal world, signals from the field, campaign performance, customer feedback, they flow seamlessly into product and marketing decisions, right? So what's working well in your organizations today when it comes to turning insights into action? And where do these signals get lost or ignored, and why? And what structures or habits have helped you close that gap?
For us, I think it's really a close alignment to the field marketing. So, we have a very strong relationship with the field marketing teams. And then we also have dashboards that help follow KPIs, make sure that we're hitting targets. So there's a really strong process in place, Juniper. I've seen that in other organizations that I've worked at, where you have the strong alignment, strong collaboration with the field teams and other marketing teams. So it's very integrated. I've also worked in organizations where there's the disconnect. And that really makes it hard for you to understand what's going on with the customer, really turning those insights into action. So I think, just from experience, the integration in teams is just really important.
Yeah, and maybe from my side, actually, just to add on top, because I fully agree with that. And I think what really is helping us to be united with our other teams is that we actually do that dirty work. So actually, we dig into the database and find those signals that really matter. And then we don't only, communicate them and sort of send them and sort of build Power BI and whatnot. We also actually create tasks for people based on the signals. And for example, one of the things that I think makes us really customer focused is that whenever we get any customer feedback, that's actually flowing really within the organization. And actually, we use that as an action point for the teams. And actually, that's, I think, really, really powerful insight that I think we started a few years ago. And I see that as a key metric for a lot of teams to not only be really KPI and sales driven, but also really care about what customer cares about so that we also close those gaps. And maybe maybe talking also about data for the sales, we're generating, we're looking into customer data or our own data and actually thinking what is the next step for the customer where we can support them and help them from sales perspective. And then that's what we use actually to help our sales, to guide our salespeople to make that right phone call and the right email. So yeah.
Yeah. So there is a key here on accessing the right data, structuring that. Yeah, 100% agree. So let's talk about now, we talk a little bit about this, but those shared goals, right, that in theory make that prioritization easier, right? But urgent demands also disconnect and create a little bit of chaos. So where have you seen that true alignment that helped teams focus and execute better when you know that there are urgent demands around the corner and you need to deliver? So how that alignment actually is helping in achieving the results.
Again, I'll come back to that integration, that collaboration, the partnerships, internal partnerships. So with my programs, it's always been very awareness driven. Sustainability is not so far down in the funnel. Every organization that I've worked at. So it's a little different in my case, but even when there's change and there's the urgency, it's really developing those internal relationships, developing those partnerships to make sure that in the event that something needs to pivot, there's never a loss of communication and there's just an action plan in terms of how we pivot and drive towards those goals or just how we change the plan.
And to add on top, I think for us is really we put everyone in the same room. It's like super basic, but actually by that's how you truly achieve the alignment. And actually when looking into the budgets and whatnot, I mean travel costs, no matter how much you travel, is usually very very tiny portion of that. So actually by traveling and being in the same room with the stakeholders, with your people, and hopefully also seeing customers, going for customer visits, I think that's what really truly aligns people and then really helps into prioritization, not only towards the same goal, but also for understanding why some things are not being worked on because the other things are way more important because they're driving just more value. So yeah, I think being in the same room is a key. In remote world, a little bit more difficult. And actually for my team, whenever we have a visitor, and my team unfortunately hates it a little bit, but everyone has to be in the office during the few days when we have visitor, and in hybrid remote work, it's not everyone super on board of it, but it actually does build huge collaboration and togetherness for the team when we have those critical meetings. So actually,
I think that's a critical piece actually, that togetherness, just sitting in the same room, even if it's once a quarter or what have you, is very important to really become even more unified.
How do you do it, Monica? Because your team is global, right? So do they travel to a certain place, or you host virtual meetings, or?
So a lot of it, a lot of the work that I've done has been virtual, but the moments that I'm able to go on site, I'll travel to headquarters and we'll have meetings. I'll have meetings with my stakeholders, but a lot of it is just really leveraging the tools that we have and being able to build those relationships virtually, which can be a challenge, right? So when you meet people face to face, the energy's different, the conversations are different, but it does take some time to really develop out some of these relationships.
Yeah, okay. So another big test of alignment is the handoff, right? We know that it's that campaigns that launch smoothly, enablement, support cells, and leads move seamlessly. So what handoffs are working well in your organizations today?
Maybe I can start, and with our handoff, of course, it's so easy, to put the ball on the other team's side and say, no, now it's on them. But actually, when we look into our operation, we're measuring the funnel, right? So we're looking into the pipeline in terms of the digital marketing is generating leads, but we're also responsible for everything that happens afterwards, all the way until the sales, and we're actually being measured, or we measure ourselves on the sales. And then how can we even have any control of the sales, because it's really not our, but so actually that's where what's the key, because then when you're responsible for sales, when you look at those numbers, sometimes you have questions, why those leads are still sitting there, and then you follow up with the person that's responsible for it, and then you have a meeting with another person that's, and then in the end you don't only sort of grow your KPI, but you also help other people to improve in their job, because maybe they didn't know that it's urgent customer request, or how much money that campaign costed us, and how big this lead might turn out to be. So actually, we really focus on the funnel itself, and the handoffs, the pain points are actually the areas where we work a lot on. So actually, follow up, quick chats, and small meetings on this and that, and then. And of course, it's a little bit painful, because sometimes you have to send 30 people like a small message about something, because you see that something's not working, and then but actually you learn so much, and then you're able to also establish some sort of process, so that process is in the future then automated. So you're helping the company as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with Lukas. It's really identifying. So the content that I create is really, again, awareness, and then taking it all the way into the field and even into sales enablement. It's always, making sure that the handoffs are happening properly, making sure, following up, just having those chats, those internal syncs and things like that, just making sure that you're really following the trail of the content that I'm driving and creating, making sure that it's going all the way into the hands of the folks that it needs to sit in.
Thank you, guys. So, what about when things don't go well and still break down or create delays? Can you give any examples where that handoff is not as seamlessly as we want, and there is friction?
You just pull your hair. Yeah, no, that's always a challenge. It's just making, because sometimes the systems do break, right? And then the other teams' focus and priorities change, and they're not as, their attention is pulled into a different direction. Like for me, it's just really being proactive, being that pain point in someone else's world, just making sure I'm pinging them all the time. There's instances where I had to deliver in a particular time frame, and the workflow isn't just moving along, right? And it's because initially you're relying on a system or a process that's already in place, and you think that it's going to carry the work forward. But really, it's up to you to be passionate enough about your work, making sure that you're diligent and disciplined enough to take it forward, because not everyone is going to, especially when you're creating content like such as awareness type content, and it doesn't really it doesn't sit in any demand gen campaigns. It's really making sure that you're pulling that content forward, that awareness forward, and really breaking through whatever walls you have to do.
And on our side, it's a little bit the same. I mean, whenever there is a, you ask someone to do something and then it's still not happening, and then what's then? How do you act in that situation? I think in Atlas Copco, it's a little bit different organization than many other organizations. In our case, we are very, very decentralized, meaning if you're local branch, you basically do as much as you can to sort of maximize your KPIs and sort of work. And then the global has to always convince with coaching and education in a way, rather than, escalating and saying, hey, this person is not doing the job. Please make sure that they do this and that. So we really, really focus on sort of showcasing and educating people on what's the business case behind the action, and convincing that way. Because unfortunately, with the escalations, you can a little bit destroy the relationship as well that you have, because you have to have also trust that the person is doing the best job. I mean, they have the priorities in place, and maybe your priority is not their priority at the same time. But then if you have a relation, then you can sort of have the trust and understanding of the way they work. And actually, in rare cases, we use escalations as a tool to sort of make someone do something. It's much more about really just, explaining why that's important, why it's important to generating leads, showing the examples of, other branches that have been doing that and had achieved huge success, and then showing them how their KPI, how their project, how their initiative or their region can expand a lot. Everybody wants to do a good job again, and so it grows on that.
Yeah, I do think influence is a super important skill set in this work, just because sometimes, like you said, you don't want to escalate things and you don't want to harm the relationship. So it really is about influencing.
Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot today, from imagining what a truly unified team looks like to turning insights into action and shared planning and smoothing the handoffs. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear one final thought from each of you. What's one key piece of advice that you'd give to leaders trying to build a high-performing, fully aligned go-to-market team?
Focus on people. Really ensure that they are happy at their jobs, and they will do maximum that they can, as long as the KPIs are in place and they're really passionate about them. But really try to help them and really enable them and sort of connect them with people and showcase how successful they can be. And and I'm sure, and have a lot of fun as well on the way.
Yeah, I did, Lukas, a lot of fun. Make sure that you enable teams to come together, give them the space to be able to collaborate, and really find those streams of, connections, making sure that you're really promoting and helping support that.
Awesome. Monica, Lucas, thank you so much for sharing your perspectives and experiences. And thank you to our listeners for joining us on B2B Marketing Futures. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your colleagues. Until next time, thank you so much.